Welcome back to Nifty Network. Today I'm going to show you how to remove your speedometer out of your G35 Coupe or G35 sedan. First things first is we're going to undo the battery. I always like to do it. It's kind of just like a safety thing. Just always make sure the battery's undone. It's a 10 for the ground. So obviously lefty-loosey. Get that loosened up. Give that a little twist. And also when you pull the battery off, make sure to push the terminal out, because those wires kind of have a memory to them. They'll want to pop back up and set on there. I've had that happen. So just kind of push it out of the way. And we'll get to the positive right now. And same thing, once it's loose, just give it a little wiggle, pop that up, and pop that over. If it doesn't want to stay, I'll take the battery cover and I'll set it like that just so that it doesn't set back on the positive. Okay, so to remove the airbag, I turned the steering wheel to the right a little bit, and that's just for viewing purposes on this right here, but the steering wheel did lock. So get a flathead, and there's a little beauty trim cover right here that pops out very easily. And you're gonna have another, oh wow, and of course this one is very rare to see. You're either normally gonna have a T27 safety Torx or a T30. Let me grab the right one of that and I'll show you what that tool looks like too. All right, so we ended up getting the safety Torx bit out of this. So you have to remove this safety Torx, or whatever you want to call this. I don't know the specific name of this bolt, but they're extremely rare to be on here. So this kit that I have is called a M6 Airbag Anti-Theft Bolt Master Key Set Service Tool. The 166 one actually lined up with this one really good. So you'll see that it'll set in there like that. We're able to get that out, but the likelihood of you running into this bolt is extremely rare. I've dealt with hundreds of these cars and I've never ran into one before. So I'll show you we got the one on this side. If you go directly across from it, there's going to be one on the bottom. This is a T30 safety Torx. So this is more common for what should be on the car. T30 safety Torx is because it has the hole in the center. So I'm going to get this out and then I'll show you what this one looks like in comparison to the other one. Alright, so the normal one that you're going to run into is here on the left side. That's a safety Torx T30 on this side. Check it out, pop that little cover off, see if yours has it. Put those on the ground, and then when you have both of those safety bolts out, just slide your airbag straight forward. Don't pull too hard because there's things connected. We're going to rotate the airbag over. We're going to grab a pick, and there's these black, the black clips, or I don't even know what to call these. These are airbag plugs, but the black part on this, if you go on the back side, there's a little divot. Just slide it back in there and this will release. And pop that off. Same thing right here. Slide it up there and then come on this side and do that. And there you go. Alright, so now that we have the airbag off, to get the steering wheel off, there's a couple things you need to see in here. There is a green plug right here, and we're going to slide that off. This is just a ground for the horn to work. So slide that off, and then there's going to be a plug right here. Press down on the that part of the plug that removes it. And then these clock spring plugs for the airbag are in this little notch. So you want to move that. Once you have everything freed up, you're going to grab a 19 on an impact, or make sure that your steering wheel is locked. Then you'll be able to use a ratchet or breaker bar, whatever you have. What I like to do though is I'll get it loose, but not all the way off, because these are really stuck sometimes, and if you pull that nut off and then you yank on the steering wheel and it smacks you in the face, you're not gonna have a good day. So leave that nut on there a couple threads until you get the steering wheel off. What I do is I'll kind of rock it back and forward on here, see if it comes loose. If it doesn't, hold one part of the steering wheel and pull towards you, and then just kind of give it some taps around it. And what that does, it'll just loosen it up for you and it'll pop loose. So you can see the force that it took to take that off. if that nut wasn't on there, there's a good chance it probably would have smacked me. So once it's loose like that, you can remove the nut all the way. And then just slide that off. If anything gets caught up, make sure it's not getting yanked off. You're gonna see a little opening right here. That guy lines up with that guy right there. And what I'll like to do is I'll lock the steering wheel into a place where I know that the steering wheel and the steering shaft's not gonna move. So just make sure to keep that lined up, and then when you put it back on, you can actually look through, the back of this. So if you see my flathead coming through, you can make sure that that white post is lining up with that. So if it doesn't go on all the way, don't force it. All right, so now that we have the airbag off, we have the steering wheel off, we can now access our clock spring, and make sure wherever you take your steering wheel off that this clock spring does not move. If you're replacing your clock spring, that probably means that it's bad, but make sure your new one isn't all messed up, and like, don't undo the zip tie if there's a zip tie on it and then spin it around, because that's just gonna mess it up. So we're gonna go under the bottom side right here. There's a little beauty trim piece. This just releases easily, no tool necessary. And then on the right side there is a Phillips head. Okay, so loosen that up. Okay, so once you have this bottom trim piece loose, this will come off. There's these clips that slide in there that hold the right side, and then there's one here and one screw. So get that out of your way. And then we're gonna go to the front part of the clock spring cover, steering column cover, whatever you wanna call it. There's 2 screws on this. Make sure that comes out. There's one more on this side. And these 2 pieces will separate, they pry apart. So just put your flathead or your Phillips head in there and go down with it, and then that will free up this top part. You want to remove the top part, and then to get this off, you're going to pull it. It kind of is going to seem forceful, but pull it around the blinker. It's not going to break. Just if it's stopped and it's like stuck, don't obviously force it. And then you have the steering wheel control right here to make it go up or down. Get that out of your way. And then you've got a couple plugs down here. I like to do the plugs first. So we got a little white plug right here. Slide that out of the way, and then we have a, all right, so if you go under the clock spring, you're gonna see a gray plug and you're gonna see a yellow plug. The yellow plug is obviously for the airbag. You must do the gray one first. So slide that in there like that, twist it, get that plug out of there, and then you're allowed to get this yellow plug. If you try the yellow plug first, it just won't come out. I don't know how they engineered this, or I don't understand it, but basically when you slide these in, that yellow clip has a tab on it that holds it from coming out. So make sure that you do that, and then you don't have to have these separated, or you don't have to have them together. And then, so we have all the wires off. There's going to be two Phillips heads in here on the face of it. And you can kind of feel back here when it's loose. Don't pull, like I said, you need to be gentle. There's also one more screw hole over here. And when that's loose, it's not done, because there's a tab right here. This little guy right here pushes down, and then you're gonna have one more plug that you have to get to up on top. So once that's released, I mean, I guess you could do it beforehand too, but this plug right here for the blinker, or the this would be the washer arm, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean. And there you go. Okay, and then to get the speedometer off, it's kind of a little bit of a process. Nothing major though. So there's this little plastic trim piece right here that goes down by the kick panel, or by the whatever you want to call this section of the car. And this will pop up like that. Be gentle with it. We'll just put that in our back seat for now. And then you're gonna see, if your e-brake is on, take it off, make sure the car is in park and you're not going to go rolling down a hill. All right, so there's a black plastic nut back here. Make sure to take that off. And then this side kick panel piece next to the pedals pulls towards the pedals. So pull that way, and these will come out. As you can see, those tabs right there come that way. Okay, so then once you have that stuff off, there's a 10 mil that holds the hood latch release on here. So I'll loosen that out. And then there's going to be 2 Phillips heads that hold your OBD2 port. So loosen those out of there. And now this lower cover should come down. We're just going to give it a slight easy pull towards us and a little bit down. And then that's going to open up. And that's the reason why I take off this piece right here, the side kick panel piece and this piece, because when you're pulling on it, there's a little tiny lip on here, and sometimes it catches, sometimes it doesn't. These 2 pieces are very fast to take off, so I just get those out of my way. And then we're gonna see a bunch of plugs down here. This one right here is for the dimness. And then we're gonna go over to the traction control button, which is a gray plug. And then we have our trunk release button right here on the left. So get those off, and then we had unscrewed the OBD2 port, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we have two more things to undo over here. There's one little plug, and I believe this reads air temp on inside of the vehicle. So when you have like auto on, it knows what it's doing. And then this tube just slides on the sensor right here. If it's stuck, just get a pick and work your way around it. It'll slide off like that. And then I try, if I'm not replacing a hood latch cable, I try to leave this out of the way as much as possible, because these clips right here break. They tend to break easily. And it's given us access to get to our 4 bolts on the Speedo. So we can remain doing those. Those are 4 10 mils. You can see 2 of them really easily. There's one right here. And then there's one. So these are the 2 easy ones to get to. The other ones are definitely a pain. You got to go under there. I'll take this cover off just for viewing purposes. Those are 2 10s as well, 3 10s. And that slides up and off like that. Okay, so we got the 2 front ones off. Right above this bracket right here, you're gonna see one more 10 mil. It's kind of tucked in the corner. So we're gonna take that one off, and then there's one more. There's one more right here tucked in this corner. And once you have those 4 10s off, I'm gonna come up here to the ignition switch. We're gonna pop this plastic cover off so we don't break it. And then give it a quick shake. We can see that it's loose. Just kind of give it a little maneuvering here and get that up. And then they don't really give you much room here, but there is one more clip right here that we need to undo. So get your pick or a flathead, and you're gonna have to come from the left side and undo it right here. So that frees up a little bit more room, and that is for the your mirrors, your left and right adjustment right there, and that's this bigger plug. Okay, so once we have that, we're gonna look in the back of it, and we're gonna see one harness coming up, and there's 2 plugs. Just press on that release right there and give it a little wiggle. And then there's one more hiding, so there's 3 back here. I'm sorry. Pinch that with your fingers. On these smaller plugs, it's a lot easier to just use your fingernail or squeeze it if you don't have fingernails. And then this 3rd plug right there, that one was easy. And there you go. Your speedometer is out on your G35 Coupe or G35 Sedan.